台本の順番でいきますので。
はい。
はい。お願いします。
出てますね。
はい。
はい。
Are we live?
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
はい。
少しね、遅れるみたいですからね。
Okay.
一応、この画像では出てるんですけど、どうかな。ロバートさんの方見れます？
I'm checking. I don't see anything. Oh, here we are. Yes.
Yes.
We are live, and somebody's watching us.
Somebody's already.
I see. Okay, well, good evening if you're joining us from Asia. Good afternoon if you're joining us from either Europe or Africa. And good morning if you are joining us from the Americas. Welcome to Kenji Ojima, Invisalign YouTube Live International.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Volume
thank you for joining
2.
Dr. Kenji
Thank you
and
for
me,
coming out
Robert,
joining us.
for our first ever
My name is
YouTube
Robert,
Live
and I will
international
be, once
discussion.
again, your
We are
MC
humbled
and
that
host
over
on this
500 of you joined us
1-hour
live,
journey of
and
learning.
over
And
1,000
joining
others
me
have
is
watched us
world
in the hours
famous
since.
a man who
Our
needs no
next discussion will
introduction,
go live
Dr.
on
Kenji
YouTube
Ojima. Hello,
Wednesday,
Kenji.
April
Hello.
22nd at
How are you
1:30
today?
Central European
I'm very
Time.
busy, so the
We have
many of
3
the
fresh topics for you.
teleworks.
First,
Yes.
we'll discuss molar
YouTube
mesialization.
Live.
Second,
and this time
how
is
to approach
twice a time.
deep bite cases.
Right.
So
And
the
finally,
2 hours
we'll
before is
examine
I
what
had
happens with
Japanese
posterior open
language
bites.
YouTube Live. After
Help
that,
us shape the
online
discussion
training.
through your
This is
questions and
internet.
comments
Very
in the live chat.
exciting today. How
Come
about
ask
you?
Kenji your
I-
burning
I've had a
questions
very good
in this
day. Very
rare
peaceful,
opportunity
but
to
I've
interact
had a
with
lot
him
of
directly,
university
no
work
matter
as well,
where
so
in the world
this is
you
a
are.
nice break.
Come join
and
us
it's
for
wonderful
another
to be able
Kenji
to talk to
Ojima
someone,
YouTube Live
which is something
International
that is
on
difficult during
Wednesday,
these times.
April 22nd
Of course,
from 1:30 to 2:30 Central
our
European
last
Time.
YouTube Live last week was an incredible success. Thank you all so much for contributing to that. We have over 2,000 views, 2,000 views, if you'll believe that, on our first YouTube Live. And we are so happy that so many people thought that our content was useful and interesting enough to contribute to our channel. If you are new to the channel, please remember to hit the subscribe and like button underneath the video. The more we grow, the more we show. The stronger this channel gets, the more content we can give to you. And of course, we want to give you as much content as possible. This session is going to be a little bit different from the last session. Of course, we will be covering 3 topics, but this time we're going to try to keep the topic coverage short, only 40 minutes, and have 20 minutes of dedicated Q&A, question and answer, at the end of the session. So, if you have any questions or comments while you watch the presentations, feel free to ask them. We will answer if it's appropriate to answer immediately at that time, and if not, we will have 20 full minutes of question and answer at the end of the session that you can look forward to. Now remember, Kenji is a very busy man and is usually flying around the world, giving presentations at all different venues. This may be your only time to speak with him directly, so don't miss this chance. Ask those questions, give those comments, and let's make this a wonderful hour for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so before we get into our first case, we just want to send our deep condolences to people who are negatively affected by this coronavirus situation. Of course, some people like Kenji and myself are lucky to be able to work from home. Many people are not so lucky. Many children are not going to school, and many people's lives are disrupted in a bad way. But for the next hour, we hope that you can put all of those worries aside and join us for a bit of hardcore learning from an Invisalign master.
Thank you, Robert.
You are very welcome.
So now we just started for the first case. The initial case is a very, not unusual case. So the initial time is this patient come to my office. So normally in my office, many of the try to extraction for aligners, but this patient is have to need extraction lower first molars. Okay. So very difficult to approach. We have to think about anchorage management. For this time is a lower molars extraction. Then we have to need mesialization. Please have a look initial situation for this patient. The 44 years old female patient, chief complaint is high canine and anterior clouding, then very severe case, right? So my interdisciplinary dentist sent to me this patient. So already explain everything for my interdisciplinary dentist have to need 4 premolar extraction for this patient. But I have to check precisely for this patient. So please have a look. Initial situation is a clouding, high canine, both of sides, and just a little bit for the, how I say, proclination, and just a little bit protrusion here.
Right.
Then have a look. This is a self analysis. Then we have to check precisely this OPG, also pantograph analysis. Please have a look. Lower first molar, both of side. This is right side 4-6. You have to check just a little bit problem. This is the big problem for the root canal treatment or after that.
Okay.
Okay, and this is a right side. Then we have to check another side. This is another side, 36. It's more huge disease, so the root canal treatment have to need it for this root. Then our team have to need to think about which tooth have to need extraction. Then our team is decide on upper side is first premolar extraction, lower side extraction, first molars.
Okay, so first premolars up, first molar down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because we have to think about all the time which tooth is more long-term stability or not.
I see. Okay.
Yes. Then so that our team is decide on upper side first premolar, lower side first molar extraction. Then we have to 3 option.
Okay.
One option is after extraction first molars, then so the bring to the bone, so the graft bone. After that, place on implant.
Okay.
This is first planning. Planning 1, we call GBR, bone graft. After that, place on the implant. This is the normal approaching.
Okay.
Place on the implant after extraction. Then additional extraction first premolar of lowers. Okay. This is
Now,
normal.
is this an interdisciplinary treatment? Or
Exactly.
Do you do this?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
This is the first option. Extraction upper 1, 4, 2, 4, so 3, 6, 4, 6. Then place on the implant. After that, additional extraction 3, 4, 4, 4. Okay.
3, 4, 4, 4. Okay.
This is a plan 1. The plan 2 is a preparation bridge. After extraction, first molar, lower molars, then preparation, second molars, and second premolar like this. Preparation, then create set on the bridge, dental bridge. Then, of course, additional extraction 3, 4, 4, 4.
Okay.
This is the plan 2. This is the normally.
Okay.
Our planning is plan 3 is orthodontic treatment.
Interesting.
Lower molar medialization, lower second premolar distalization. Okay, so that we decide on this patient is plan 3.
Okay.
Because initially we have to check, ask to my interdisciplinary endodontist. Endodontist say to us it's possible, but not too long. Okay. Then so that our team think about after extraction, place on the implant or preparation, both of the teeth. Then after that, set to the bridge, or no need any another prosthetic approach. All tooth movement. Then control for the molar medialization and the premolar distalization, and no more extraction lower side.
Okay, and what's the difference in treatment time between the all orthodontic option versus like option 1 or option 2, GBR or bridge?
Exactly, very nice question. So normally is a place on the GBR, after that place on the implant or preparation for the bridge is more faster because the molar side don't move anymore. Focus on anterior. Okay. With a lower molar medialization and premolar distalization, anytime just a little bit take more time. But which is better way for the patient life?
Right. Right.
Now
exactly.
we ask to the patient which is better way. And this is the front teeth. We use face integration clean check. Then we decide on which position is better smiling for this patient. Last time I told you, it's very important thing, not only teeth, not only clean check. So in my approach, very important thing, face integration clean check is more better, how I say, easy to communication for the patient and share to my ideas, okay? Then
and so this is DSD with Invisalign that you're using for the, okay.
Exactly. Then we decide on final situation. Then we move to clean check. Initially, we decide on the final situation, then go to the clean check. Then clean check is more, how I say, tooth movement procedures.
Okay.
Then this is a more visualization. Then no more extraction. Second or first lower premolars. Upper side is control after extraction, then canine retraction, anterior retraction, alignment. This is left side is teeth, right side is teeth with aligners.
Okay.
Please have a look. So the start to the visualization space closing upper side already. Then so the space closing lower side. We control initially lower second molar visualization and lower second premolar distalization. Almost space closing, then we started to wisdom tooth visualization.
I see.
After space closing, we send back to my interdisciplinary prosthodontist, then create for the provisional restoration here. Then space closing almost, then finally, this is the space closing. This is the end of the orthodontic treatment.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Then, after that, we send to the interdisciplinary dentist. Please have a look. This is how to think about anchorage management. Initially, we use wisdom tooth and both of side canine. Don't move anymore.
Okay.
This is circle area is anchorage. Only focus on second premolar distalization. Focus on second visualization on the molars. Another teeth is anchorage. Then we just tooth control step by step. Then we have to think about which tooth is anchorage, which tooth is control, then precisely tooth movement. Then no need any tat, no need any screw, only aligner, space close, and alignment here. This is at end of the orthodontic treatment. Then sent to interdisciplinary dentist back. Then patient want to change for the metal crown, metal inlay. Then we order to final restoration. Of course, in my clinic, is the end of the treatment. We have to check the movies. This is a quality control.
Right.
Quality control is not only alignment, very important thing. Check the function, the balance, and the guide everything. After send back to my office again, this patient is a change the crowns, a new ceramic crown, good for the occlusion, good for the canine guide until guided. This is the end of the also. This, please check comparison to the first molar around the bone situation is become good. Okay.
Much better, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Then the space closing at this time is a not tipping movement, bodily movement. This is finally check for the DICOM data and check for the STL data. Integration, we have to check so the bone situation, we have to check root situation, everything. This is a quality control phase.
I see.
Then so the very important thing is not only active tooth movement phase. And also we have to check the retention. Retention phase is very important thing for my approaching. But this patient is good for the using for the retainers and good continuous for the maintenance for my office every 3 months. Good for the using the retainer. This is the 2 years retention. Is canine and midline, is a molar relation. Everything is perfect. Okay?
Beautiful. That smile line is perfect. It's
Thank you.
perfect. Yeah.
This is a 2 years retention. Is good for the smiling, good position. This is the comparison initial and final. This is left side is the initial, end of the also. Then this finally 2 years retention for this patient. Okay.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely excellent. Can I take a question?
Okay.
Okay, so we have a question, our first question from Julia. Thank you, Julia. Julia says, thank you for the webinar. And do you add mesial root tip to the lower molars before you mesalize them?
Yes, for the very important thing, how to management for the anti-chipping for the molar movement. At this time, I using for the no initial time root tip movement. So that I want to use for the rectangular attachment And as you know, after extraction wisdom after extraction first molars, we can use lap phenomenon, rigid acceleration phenomenon. That time is very easy to control for the molars. Then I use at this time for the rectangular attachment and place on the aligner. Initial 6 aligners, at this time I reduce the speed. How do we do? It's one aligner, normally in Invisalign system, is a 0.25 millimeter tooth control. But at this patient, initially 6 aligner, reduce the speed, one aligner, 0.125 millimeter tooth movement. So more precisely, the anti-tipping movement, we can do that.
Okay, very interesting. And we have another question from Firas, who says, do you move the roots first?
No. This is the normally. So, but before we tooth movement, we check for the root position from DICOM data cone beam CT. Then so we understood how millimeters angulation is needed, torque control is needed, and the bone situation, cortical bone is here, is sometimes hit for the cortical bone, the root. At this time, just a little bit control the tooth, then measurization.
Interesting.
So, if you're using for the cone beam CT, you can understood anatomical data before tooth movement, more safety, more easy to control.
Right, so by using that DICOM data, you get a better understanding of the whole bone and tooth and oral situation before starting tooth movement.
Yes.
So okay, that's great. And then one final question before we move on to our next case. Thank you both, Julia and Firas. Great questions. Finally, from Victor, we have, do you experience any attachment debonding or loss of track on the metal crown molar? How's the fit on that metal crown?
Very nice idea. Sometimes, so like this metal crown, so before I tooth movement time, I explain for the patient. After orthodontic treatment, have to need the change new crown. So because before the situation is good for the bite, but this is the before tooth movement. After tooth movement, is the situation is changed. Then I explain some of the time. Before tooth movement time, I'm change crown. Or sometimes tooth movement. After that, few months later, just a little bit off tracking. At this time, place on attachment on metal.
On the metal, okay.
Yes, because we can, so using for the metal bonding and the metal for material is easy to place on the attachment. Then how I say for the fitting for the aligner much better. Then we start it again. Or some of the time we use for the elastic over to aligners, then more good for the fitting for the aligner, then continue again sometime.
So if you're in case by case, depending on how much unfit you have and the type of unfit, you can use either elastics or different attachments to sort of make up for that unfit. I see. And maybe one more question. One last question here before we move on. Nuno Sousa Diaz says, thank you for your lecture. In this case, how many refinements do you need until space closure in a case like this?
But this patient is two
refinements.
So the finally initial time tooth movement and before detailing time, I take a scanning again, send for the line, then just little bit tooth movement, and want to check for the midline. At this time, it's a first refinement. Then after that, before I send to the prosthodontist, at this time they were just waiting for the last aligner. Then come back again, so the all crown is setting. At this time, take rescanning again, send to the refinement, second refinement. Then check detailing.
Excellent. So especially in this case, having proper, comprehensive, detailed planning before reduces the number of refinements in the end as well, right? Great. Sure. Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you very much for your wonderful questions. Let's move on to our next case. What's next, Dr. Kenji?
Okay. Next one is deep
Would you
bite.
like deep bite? Deep bite sounds good. Let's look at deep bite. Deep bite, a typically very challenging case, especially because flaring can happen very easily in the anterior teeth. How do you approach deep bite?
So let's go to the deep bite case. This patient is a high canine, the deep bite. Then my approach is no extraction. Many of my friends, my colleagues, so the Kenji is many of the type is easy to extraction faster. But I don't like extraction. Everybody don't like extraction. But we have to check which approach is better to patient. Some of the time, distalization, expansion, they avoid extraction, like this patient. Have a look. 26 years old female patient, how millimeter intrusion for the teeth from the face clean check? That is very important thing. We have to check not only clean check. Very important thing is a face integration clean check. Have a look. Initially, for this patient, high canine, both of side, and the severe clouding, the deep bite patient, class 2, division 2 situation, 25 years old female patient. So my planning is this. Initially, extraction is more easy, but the check profile, check front teeth. So with the face, okay? This is OPZ and the cephalometrics data. Then check tooth position. And this is a face. The facial midline, dental midline is the same or not. That is very important thing initially. Then we have to check for the vertical position, smiling line, how millimeter vertical tooth movement or not. And some of the time, how millimeter expansion canine to canine, and which is good position for the from the lip. This is a initial, okay, my analysis for this patient. Next one is a planning 2, is check profile. This is the E-line, is good or not. Then this patient have to check overjet, overbite, okay. This is a cephalometrics data. We have to check for this patient have to need upper incisor intrusion, lower incisor intrusion 2, and upper anterior incisor proclination have to need it because yes, exactly. Then so that this is my planning for the before tooth movement for this patient. Then very important thing is using this software, also communication software, the face integration clean check. Then so that we have to easy to check the face, the matching, and tooth position like this. Then so the easy to checking. So this is a very easy. 2 material. One material is picture. Another one is clean check. This is on this software, also communication software, easy to cut, easy to trimming for the patient face. This is an overlay, clean check movie, and the facial photos. Okay.
I see. Okay. Well, very simple.
Yes,
but
very
very
easy.
effective. It's a great example.
They're
it's very easy to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Check for the how millimeter intrusion, how millimeter canting is better. If I create one clean check, which is more good result, I can create another one. I can create another one, easy to checking. Okay.
Great.
Then so that we decide on tooth movement. Then go to clean check. Next, go to clean check. Then we understood already how millimeter intrusion is better for this patient, and we control molar distalization, upper molars, and expansion, avoid extraction like this. That I told you last my YouTube live. So the upper molar distalization is very effectively from aligner orthodontic treatment.
Right.
Then so this is the place on attachment for this patient. Then started to use class 2 elastic, then go to the upper molar distalization sequentially. Then this software is also communication software. Our office usually use this one. Then all the time checking precisely like this. You can see that create a space between the first molar and the second molars, right? Then so that this time is we can get so the molar distalization one by one without any other tat, any other crown, any other mini screw. And this software is easy to switching for the tooth photos and put on button and aligner button and aligner fitting the photos.
Interesting.
Aligner fitting is very important thing. Please have a look. Upper left canine is just a little bit started unfitting because this patient cannot bite anymore. Another teeth is using bite force. But the upper left canine cannot bite force then so maybe easy to happen unfitting. But I explained already before tooth movement for this situation, maybe will be happen unfitting for the aligner, but don't worry,
Right.
this is the plan.
This is in the plan. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
because I don't use any bite force. Okay.
You can see the future. You're so amazing. I can't believe it.
Then started for the unfitting time. I don't like easy to scanning, easy to start it for the refinement. Everybody don't like refinement because of waiting 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Everybody don't like it. Align technology don't like it. Patient don't like it. Doctor don't like it. Then using some elastic button up and down like this. I use this one. This using elastic up and lower. This is a vertical elastic. Then we want to control vertical tooth movement before refinement.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Then few weeks later, we take a rescanning again. Then aligner fitting is much better. Then start it again, precisely tooth movement face. So the molars and the canine. This is a second clean check. My second clean check like this. Okay. Control all the tooth alignment. Already, this is fitting is better. Midline is correct. And the molar and the canine is class 1 relationship, and the overbite, overjet is good. The end of the tooth movement here, then started for the retention phase for this patient. This is a retention phase for this patient. Then nowadays is a retention. Every 3 months come to my office. Okay?
Wow.
This is the initial and the final we can control for the vertical tooth movement. This is the initial and the final for the face. And this is the face and the tooth position like this. Totally different.
So what was the total treatment time?
Total treatment time is about less than 2 years. 1 year plus 10 months, I think.
1 year and 10 months. And how many aligners was it?
76 plus
76,
76 plus about 20.
Okay, so you were using an acceleration device for this case as well?
Yes, of course I use for the acceleration device, also pulse device, every 3 days aligner change.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you very much. Well, enough questions from me. Let's turn to our chat room and see what questions our chat has for you. The first question is from Babandeep, who says, which software is used here when you're showing overlapped facial picture and ClinCheck together?
This is also communication software. So also communication is easy to use for the support your aligner clinical work, and very cheap, very fast, very effective. So I put on my この概要欄に貼っておきますとお伝えください。
So he'll have a link in the details for this video to OrthoComm. OrthoComm OrthoCommunication software, very effective software, and as you can see, you can also use the slider as well to follow treatment time and see at each stage what your patient's mouth was actually looking like.
Yeah, of course. Also, communication software. You can use laptop and mobile and a smartphone and the laptop, everything.
So it's a cloud software.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful. All right, we have another question. Oh, thank you very much for your question, Bandeep. OrthoCommunication is the name of the software.
Yes.
And the next question is from Opal Dental. Welcome back, Opal Dental. Thank you again for joining us in this session. Dr. Kenji, do you ask for exaggerate intrusion and palatal root torque to achieve the desired result in deep bite correction?
Yeah, initially we have to check is anatomical data first, all the time, not only cephalometric data. Very important thing is a bone, so the thin, and how millimeter is tooth control for the root control is possible or not. If you can, is procrastination first, we can do that. But some of the time very thin for the gum. At this time, we have to precisely tooth movement is more safety. So like this situation, we can do the check initially like this bone thin and width, and control how millimeter, how degrees tooth movement is possible or not. Then we can do that. And the aligner is more safety. Last time my YouTube channel I told you. So the multi-bracket is placed on the braces, and the labeling wire is a very, how I say, under control.
Right.
So aligner is a step-by-step one aligner just to control 0.25 millimeter.
It's more precise.
Yes, precisely. You can check this staging, no problem. Then step back, and you can check the bone, everything. Then okay, let's go to that another aligner. Then you can control.
Very interesting. All right, thank you very much, Opal Dental. Let's take one or two more questions before we move to our next case.
Okay.
Next question is from Dr. Shami. Hello, Dr. Shami. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please remember to like and subscribe. Dr. Shami's question is, do you do any stripping?
Yes. So the mind stripping all the time is a finery. I don't like is IPR, interproximal reduction, fast staging. I just keep it for the IPR, so the final finishing staging. Finishing staging, the patient want to check precisely tooth movement on midline and alignment. At this time, I keep IPR stripping. Then, so the final staging detailing, I do just a little bit. Of course, for this patient using for the stripping is the final staging.
Okay, final staging. So do you always do stripping last, or is it case by case?
It depends on the case.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Next question from Pedro, Dr. Pedro. Thank you for the lecture, he says. And how much speed delay in the ClinCheck do you need to change the aligners every 3 days?
That means how to change for the normal tooth movement and faster tooth movement, right?
Exactly, I think so, yes.
Yes, so every single patient, every single ClinCheck is different. Totally different. Not for the format, not for the template. So this patient, yes, if using for the acceleration device, you can more separate tooth movement. Okay? The separate tooth movement is more easy to control, easy to, how I say, management for your patient and the management for you. And the more safety tooth movement, because this tooth is encouraged, this tooth is a control. If for the simultaneous tooth movement, so that you need maybe confuse which tooth is control, which tooth is anchorage. Okay, some of the time if using for the acceleration device, so your benefit is you can control sequentially.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. So once again, just careful ClinCheck planning and increasing the number of aligners in order to change the aligners you order in order to change your aligner movement every 3 days.
Yes.
And one final question before we move on to our next case is from, I'm very sorry if I mistake your name here. Our question is from Eminser Hatarikin, who says, what kind of acceleration device did you use? This is OrthoPulse. And what protocol did you use?
Yes, so thanks a lot for the nice question. So I use for this patient is a OrthoPulse device. OrthoPulse device is using for the patient is one time 10 minutes, 5 minutes upper teeth, 5 minutes lower teeth, done. Only this. Some of the time for the very, how I say, stoic Japanese patient want to use twice a time or third time per day, but I all the time explain one time per day is enough. Okay, just 10 minutes in house.
It's such an amazing time that we live in that we can do 10 minutes a day flashing light in order to get such amazing results. Okay, and we have one final comment, and again, we'll address this later. But Dr. Gayan says, please provide a link for the Ortho communication software for the US as well, the international link. Please include that in the details as well. Okay, so let's move into our final case today. Our final case will be a discussion of what happens. Does posterior open bite happen as a result of aligner orthodontics?
Okay. So last case is this. Does it create posterior open bite from aligner orthodontics? Many of the doctors, many of the orthodontists talk about aligner, if aligner orthodontics make easy to happen posterior open bite. But my idea is totally different. Please have a look at this patient. Initially, patient is come to my office. Problem is what happened posterior open bite. Okay, let's go the case. Now, this patient is come to my office, very narrow arch, deep bite, and cloudy, anterior cloudy. Okay, this is the initial situation for this patient. Then my idea, my planning is no extraction because this patient want to please never extraction any teeth. Initially, we have to check the face and profile. Okay. Then so have a look. E-line is a profile is just a little bit back. Then I want to control anterior proclination for this patient, same as last case. And this is a safe and OPG, no problem for the bone, no problem with the root, everything. And this is my clean check. Please watch carefully my clean check. Clean check is digital, as you know. The digital is sometimes like a ghost. The ghost is easy to like this through to the tooth, okay?
We can see that. We can see the green tooth pop out in the front there, yes.
Exactly. Real tooth is don't happen like this. Please have a look. Initially, my planning is uprighting lower right side, uprighting canine, uprighting first premolars. At this time, what happened? We have to think about maybe hit premature contact.
Premature contact, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But clean check simulation is like a ghost. Okay, through the tooth like this.
Right.
This is a not real tooth movement nowadays. Maybe I hope the near future, if premature contact, just a little bit for the occlusion is changed, is better. Have a look. Clean check. I use usually like this back side. I want to check occlusion. Not only I check front teeth, not only check right and left. Back side is very easy to checking occlusion. This time, contact tooth to tooth, right? How reaction like this for the reality human body maybe I think cannot bite anymore.
Right.
Only this tooth hit one point, another tooth is can't bite anymore. But this clean check is just visualization, like a ghost, not really reaction, right? So orthodontist and the doctor have to need explain for the patient before tooth movement. If explain before tooth movement, I already told you, maybe staging 20, staging 25, your lower canine is premature contact because the eye control uprighting. But at this time, this is the plan, no problem. Maybe you cannot bite left side, but this is planning. It's no problem. But if don't talk to like this reaction, patient very weird. This is good because I cannot bite for the left side.
Okay.
Okay, please have a look. This is a total tooth movement clean check. Wisdom tooth is sequential distalization and expansion. Lower side is uprighting and intrusion and the tooth control anterior teeth. This is like a ghost, not reality, okay?
Right.
Have a look, expansion first. This time, the aligner number 20, align until number 30, at this time, premature contact area, right side.
Right.
Okay, everybody
Right.
know that we have to check precisely your clean check. Then you have to think about how reaction for the patient. This is only clean check. This is like a ghost. This is not real tooth movement. Okay.
Right.
Then doctors and orthodontists and your team have to need to explain before tooth movement. Then so the patient is okay, understood. Will be 20 to 30 aligner will happen posterior open bite. Okay. This is a clean check. Then okay, let's go to tooth. This is the initially. Is this tolerable or not? Expansion 43. How do you think reaction? This is a tooth situation. Initially, then my planning is uprighting, then intrusion.
Right.
Initially uprighting, then intrusion. Premature contact 43445. Okay. After that, how do you reaction? Posterior open bite for the left
Right.
side.
Of course.
Okay. So this is a tolerable or not. Intrusion start initially start to uprighting. Then left side open bite. This is the plan. Then
Okay.
uprighting first to intrusion. Intrusion 43445. But during this time cannot bite for the left side.
Right.
Intrusion 43. Then more bite. This is the finally. Then after that sent to my interdisciplinary doctors. Then here is already observation. Then I order to this is a prosthetic approaching 3-6. Okay. This is planning tooth movement. Initial time, premature contact here. Then posterior open by the left side. Then started intrusion right canine. Then finally is a both of side is a good occlusion. Okay. This is the final situation for this patient. For the both of side is bite is good, midline is correct, canine relationship is good, the molar is a class 1 relationship. This is the final situation for this patient. Smiling is good and the position is good. And this
Beautiful.
is OPG and the before and the final is good for the tooth movement. This is the initial and the final. Not only tooth alignment, but smiling is good, and the positioning is good, and more safety. Okay? This is a
Gorgeous.
final situation for this patient. Okay? This is a finally. Okay.
Okay.
Yes?
It's gorgeous. Another amazing case. And again, this shows the importance of that facial-driven treatment planning, using the face to inform tooth movement. And that's how you get that beautiful smile line, midline, E-line, everything lining up at the end of it. That's fantastic, Kenji. Thank you again for another amazing case. Before we take questions, I just want to remind everyone that all of the cases that we are watching in today's demonstration are available as short 5-minute videos without any narration in Kenji Ojima's YouTube feed. So subscribe to his channel, hit that subscribe button, hit like, help us grow our channel, and at the same time, go look out for those videos because you can see them and play them again and again and again and learn them at your own pace later. And then, of course, rewatch this video to hear Kenji's excellent explanation. Okay, so let's look at the live chat, take a couple of questions for our last case here. We have a question from SpamX, SpamX4. Welcome back, SpamX4. It seems that you watched our last video. Thank you so much for helping us grow our channel. SpamX4 says that they have noticed that in many of the cases that you show, teeth are extruded and there is no extrusive attachment. There's no attachment for extrusion. So we saw this both today and we saw this in our last YouTube live as well. So how do you manage this without an extrusive attachment?
It's a very nice question. This for the doctor, a very nice question. Please have a look. This 1-2-2 is a very not too small size. This shape is very similar to canine. Then so that I don't place on any attachment, but a good control. This is the first reason. And my approach is initially is expansion, create a space. Then after that, catch for the 1 to 2 2. Then the very crown height is very long. Then so the good for the extrusion and the good for the positioning. If for the normal size very thin is I will additional any attachment. You are right.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that question, Spemex, and thank you for your answer, Kenji. Very simple and informative as usual. Our next question is from Julia Keys. Welcome back, Julia. Thank you for coming back. The question is, how do you manage the tracking of the 12 and the 22 without attachments on them?
If for the something like happen to the off tracking, but don't worry. So the very easy to solution I will explain to you is a cut for the margin for the labial or the lingual, then place on the small resin original hook. Then using for the elastic over the aligners every 20 maximum 20, and just short is 18 or 16 hours per day, so easy to fitting for the aligner immediately, 1 week or 10 days.
So these custom hooks, these are the same hooks you talked about in our first video as well. Okay. So if you'd like to go back and review that, Julia, please do. And the second half of Julia's question was, do you think the expression of lingual root torque 11 and 21 is better without power ridge?
Yeah, so the very nice question is some of the time for the finally I want to control root torque control at this time power reach, but this patient is I don't for additional power reach anymore, but something like for the power reach is a better way, but sometimes happen to unfitting because the power reach is just a little bit like this shape for the inside aligners. So if you need it for the final situation, final aligner, last 5 aligner, I additional power reach, want to control root torque control. But please have a look, this patient is a 1222 is similar to K9. Then at this time I never use for the power reach, but normally something like I use for the power reach is more easy to control torque, right?
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for your wonderful questions, Julia, and thank you for your answer, Kenji. And let's move on to another question. We have now finished all 3 cases, so we'll be taking questions about all 3 cases.
Okay.
Right now, we will be fielding questions about the 3rd case. There are a few questions about the 1st case that we didn't have time to, so maybe to answer, so we'll jump back and answer those as well. But first, let's hear a question from Daval Fadia, who's joining us again with many questions, just like in our last stream. Thank you so much, Daval. First question from Daval is, how effective is 3rd molar movement with aligners in case of mesialization or distalization?
Yes, for the very nice question. Thanks a lot for like this situation. So it depends on the anatomical situation. But before I control for the molars, specialty lower molars, specialty upper lower molars, we have to take a cone beam CT. Then I have to check the root position, the bone situation, something like hit for the root. At this time cannot move anymore. At this time we have to control initially like this situation, then tooth movement. If already hit for the root cortical bone, cannot move anything, right? Then if you want to control molars, wisdom tooth, and something like upper wisdom tooth, at this time you have to check precisely anatomical data first, then you have to control planning. It's more safety.
Okay, well, thank you for your question, Daval. Let's move on to our next question here. Once again, we'll hear from Bandeep, who asks, did you use class 2 elastics here?
Which case?
This last case, the 3rd case.
Yes. So I use for the class 2 elastic. This is the more safety for the support anchorage. So this patient last case is, as you can see, is including the both of side wisdom tooth. At this time, is more good for the support anchorage. I use elastic.
Great, thank you very much. And could you explain a little bit more about the limit of mesialization possible bodily without tipping?
So as you can see, this patient is I can control is maybe 7 millimeter mesialization, and some of the case I do mesialization 2 12, 2 millimeters. For example, first molar extraction, second molar completely space closing. So it depends on situation, depends on bone situation, and the root position, and biomechanics, and planning. You can do everything.
As usual, it's not a one-dimensional, but a two-dimensional, three-dimensional, four-dimensional understanding that makes that kind of tooth movement possible without any sort of bad effects like tipping. Understood. Okay. We now have a question from Ander Yogun. Thank you for your question, Ander. Ander's question is, how to do a liner on transversal expansion while making a move? What kind of movement or tipping, or is it something else?
So this question is a very nice question. Some of the time transverse is very difficult. It's specialty braces, but please think about aligners. Aligner is covered to the occlusal aspect. Using upper and lower covered to aligners, already you can do bite up almost 1.4 millimeters, right? Then so the more easy to control for transverse occlusion solution. And some of the time I use additional mini screw, some of the time only aligners, but very, very easy to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Ander, for your wonderful question.
Thank you.
Let's get some questions from people we have not heard yet. CMY, thank you for your question. Thank you for viewing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. CMY, when do you decide to use direct bonding, composite hook, or precision cut for upper canine?
CMY is very nice question, right?
Always. Last time and this time, always great question.
谢谢. So when do you decide to use direct bonding for composite hook? Okay. So, the next my YouTube channel is I will explain, focus on direct bonding hook and what is different precision cut. Now I quickly answer to you for the CMY. So class 2 elastic, specialty class 2, the sequential distalization case, at this time I decide on directly bonding hook. Because if I precision cut, like this elastic, patient sometimes open the mouth, easy to remove for patient aligners. Because the precision cut is inside aligners. Okay? But the direct bonding hook is independent aligners. Hook is here without aligners. If patient open the mouth, aligner fitting is still. Do you understood? But if precision cut is with aligners. If patient open the mouth like this, aligner is like this. This is happen to unfitting. I don't like this. I want to control all the time aligner fitting is better, is good tooth movement. The class 2 situation, distalization situation, and extraction for premolar, at this time I definitely decide on directly bonding hook.
Well, as usual, thank you for your wonderful questions, CMY. And you're reading the future, because this is what our next conversation in our next session is going to be about. So for more details, be sure that you all tune in for our next session as well. Okay, we have time for a few more questions. Let's take one from Berna Zorkun, who says, thank you for the webinar, Dr. Ojima. And the question is, have you ever seen root resorption in the upper second molar at the end of distalization?
No.
Short answer.
So that very nice question. He is very nice, smart for the orthodontist. So the many of the orthodontists don't like root resorption. Me too.
Right.
So initially, I all the time checking for the root length. Then some of the time I use for the acceleration device, 3 days aligner change. I very checking for the root length. So the aligners, and if your planning is precisely for the root position, bone situation, you can do more precisely tooth movement, is a very safety. And another hand is aligner is 20 hours per day using for the orthodontic force into the root, but 4 hours is remove the aligner. At this time, the tooth is just a little bit back again.
Right.
At this time, blood supply is back. This is totally different for the multiplexes force. This is a continuous lateral force.
Okay.
But aligner is intermediate force.
Right.
Intermediate force, continuous force is totally different. So the many of the doctors, many of the patients think about aligner is just clear and very comfortable and easy to brushing. But my idea and my master, Dr. Barnashuk idea is more deeper. The different force. So the brace is continuous. Aligner is intermediate force. Intermediate force is blood supply, is where the aligner time, just a little bit for the pressure. But the removed aligner is a blood supply is back again. This is a protect and more safety, avoid root resorption. Okay?
Okay, great. I like that answer. No. And then you have a wonderful, simple answer with a great, deep explanation. Thank you so much for your great question, Berna, and your wonderful answer, Kenji. Let's take a few more questions.
Okay.
Next, from Dennis Dion. Thank you for your question, Dennis. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dennis asks, or Denise maybe, asks, what type of CL2 attachment is shown on the upper canine?
Which case?
I believe we're talking about... Okay, so Dennis, if you could tell us which case in the chat, we'll go back to that question. And when we have that answer, we'll go back. Let's go to a different question until we hear detail about which case Dennis is talking about. So let's get a question.
Normally, so that I use for the canine is a rectangular vertical attachment. And at this time, very important thing rule is inside 3 rule is that we have to keep the space so the between aligner margin to attachment over 2 millimeters. Less than 2 millimeters, it cannot grip for the aligners. Okay, this is the rule 1. Second one is that we have to check which surface is active surface. If we want to control like this tooth movement, at this time here is an active surface. But only fourth one is very easy to tipping like this. At this time we have to think about force 2. This is a reaction force. Then we can do bodily tooth movement. Okay? At this time is the active surface is 2 dimension. So we have to think about not only force 1. Think about force 1, force 2, then good bodily tooth movement. This is a rule 2, okay? And rule 3 for the canine attachment is some of the time bottom cut. I use bottom cut using class elastic. At this time, if without any rectangular attachment with directly bonding hook, the canine is easy to rotate in the aligners. I don't like it. If placed on the directly bonding hook using class elastic, at this time we need place on rectangular attachment on the canine. This is a canine rule 3. Okay, Denise.
Okay, well that was a fantastically detailed answer, and I hope that it covered your question, Dennis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we still have a number of wonderful questions about our third case that we did not answer, and also 3 questions from our first case that we did not answer. Very sorry we did not get to those. Those 3 questions from the first case were from Arvin and Stefania Daval once again. Very sorry we didn't get to those questions, but hopefully Kenji can go back and answer them at some point in a future video. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all out of time right now. And Kenji, let me ask you just very briefly to sum up today's video. What can viewers do to, I mean, your treatments are amazing. Looking at the questions in the chat, people want to know how they can do treatments more like you. What can people do to approach your level of aligner mastery?
No. So everybody do that. Everybody. So some of the time is think about very difficult, but please think simply. So what is behind aligner orthodontics? That is very important thing, right? So my idea is very simple. It's very important thing, planning, and think about biomechanics and what's behind aligner orthodontic, and this is a cover to occlusal aspect, and we can use bite force. That's it. Okay.
Okay. So planning, biomechanics, focusing on diagnosis, having a clear treatment goal, and your own ability to plan complex aligner treatments. Well, fantastic. That's great. Kenji, thank you so much for your wonderful presentations, for sharing your knowledge with us. For everyone in our chat, thank you so much for coming out and joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it. Once again, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Every person who likes and subscribes attracts more people, allow us to grow our channel, and give you more and more quality content. Our next international YouTube Live, that's right, there will be a third and a fourth and a fifth. The third international YouTube Live will cover 3 different topics. The next topics we will cover are Invisalign with teenagers, gummy smile, and single lower anterior extraction approaches. Invisalign with teenagers, gummy smile, and single lower anterior extraction approaches. We do hope very much that you find time in your schedules to come join us again. Thank you so much for coming out this evening, and we hope you all stay safe, stay well, and continue to learn. Kenji,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks a lot for the wonderful friend, wonderful colleague, very safe, so stay home, and a good education continue with me, with us.
Absolutely, for sure.
Bye-bye. Please subscribe.
Subscribe and like, subscribe and like. Thank you.
Thank you.